Right, everyone, thank you very much, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Language Bites. So today, it's my great privilege to welcome Pierre-Yves from Hypnoledge. So I'll tell you a little bit about him in a while. We've been chatting for quite a number of months now, and I was very, very excited when Pierre-Yves approached me to tell me all about the new digital platform that uses hypnosis to help language learners. Now, as you know, the VICI ethos is very much the idea of blended learning, which means that we want to be able to offer our students a platform, I want to say, with lots of different learning and coaching methods, lots of different resources that they can have access to. And we keep on promoting the fact that students who come to the Academy simply don't have access to a one-size-fits-all type of learning. We're here to really offer them a very personalized approach because it is their own journey. And that's exactly the reason why Hypnoledge caught my eye. It's very new. It's quite extraordinary, in my opinion, and that's why I'm very, very pleased today to interview Pierre-Yves, who works for the company, and therefore will be able to talk about it using better words and better explanation than I could. So Pierre-Yves, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, Nathalie. Thank you for the invitation.
Can you tell us, in a nutshell, for our learners, how Hypnoledge works and why it is such a revolution in the language learning arena?
Okay, sure. Once again, well, Hypnoledge was initially founded in 2018 by three therapists, psychologists. They've been working for more than 15 years in mental preparation, in medical, in therapy. So here we are not talking about the hypnosis for the show. This is really the Ericksonian hypnosis, which is a fantastic tool to create one thing. So Hypnoledge is a full digital solution for language learning, but also personal development. Let me explain. The idea here is by the audio side and by relaxation is to create that bubble in which the learner, the trainee, will be facilitating and stimulating all his cognitive process. By cognitive, it's going to be memorization, concentration, and attention. So the idea is really bringing the learner into that bubble to focus him only on one task without having any disruption with the reality and with his conscious. That's the first thing. And by bringing the learner into that state, you will not have the sensation and the translation with your native language and all those analytical process that will be polluting your learning process. That's the first dimension. This is really the cognitive process. The second one will be more on the psycho-emotional side, because we all know when we are facing a new language, when you are trying to learn new things, you're going to be facing barriers, you're going to be facing fears, especially when you're learning a new language. Fear of expressing yourself, fear of being judged, all the things and beliefs that are coming from your past experiences, and again, will be limiting your learning process and speed. So the idea here is really helping the learner into that psycho-emotional side and using the hypnosis as a fantastic tool to resolve those things.
Brilliant, thank you. And I have to say that at the Academy, we often talk about the communicative approach, and we spend time explaining to our learners that the reason why we're quite fond of the communicative approach is because it kind of helps students acquire the language in quite a natural way, in the same way than when they were children.
Exactly.
And I often reassure my students by saying, look, you have learned a foreign language before. You know, your native tongue at some point was a foreign language. You simply learned within your context, you learned through repetition. Most importantly, you learned without inhibition. And I think that the communicative approach is something that I've studied quite a lot when I started my career in language training. And to me, And the reason why I was very enthusiastic about the idea of finding out more about hypnology and offering it to our students is that it's taken this model and this concept to a whole different level, but it is, it's very much linked. So would you say that it works for everyone? Because we've started using Hypnoledge. A few of our students have trialed it, members of our staff, and some have been raving about it, and I am one of them. Others were a little bit more skeptical to start with. So what would you say to them? Can it truly work for everyone?
It does for everyone, and I'm not the psychologist here, and I'm just the employee and commercial director of the solution. So just two things. I'm going to give you a couple of examples where everybody encounters those unconscious states that you are encountering on a daily basis. You're going to be watching a movie and you're going to be fully absorbed. I mentioned earlier this tunnel where the idea is really to bring the learner into that state. You're going to be watching a movie and you're going to be fully absorbed by the movie, by the characters, and someone sitting next to you is going to be calling you 1, 2, 3 times. You're not going to be reacting. The fourth time is going to be elevating the voice a little bit more, and then you have the feeling to reacting and coming back to a kind of reality. This state, which is facilitated by the full attention and your full senses absorbed by the movie, this is what we call hypnosis state. So another example, you're going to be driving and you're going to be thinking at the same time at many things. You're not thinking whether you need to turn right, turn left, and you are reaching your destination. And when you're arriving your final destination, you're realizing you were probably under automatic pilot mode. This is another example. So the idea here is the more you do, the more it's like meditation. The more you practice, the more you will be under that feeling. Of course, you have some fears and those beliefs that are probably also coming from, I mentioned in introduction that the hypnosis for the show and all those things for people that are a bit more strict and not very relaxed in their approach. And they have their own belief that it's not going to be working on them, is probably because of their beliefs and because of their perception on what exactly is hypnosis. But again, here the hypnosis we're using for, this is really Ericksonian things, and it's not going to be the manipulation. And this is why we feel it's going to be working. It should be working on everybody.
That's really great. So we recorded this interview earlier in French with the founder of Hypnoledge, and I shared then that I am on a quest to learn Spanish at the moment, and I am a very poor language student who is not always as committed as she should be. Now, for me, using Hypnoledge was an opportunity to actually get going. So of course I wanted to trial the platform, but I just thought, okay, personally it can help me as well. I think that when it comes to learning Spanish, I had some barriers that I didn't know I had. So, I've been bilingual for a long time. I am often complimented on my English. And I think that, I was pretty good at English at school. It's something that I loved. And for very much a middle of the road kind of student that I was, English was very much the thing that I could say I'm very good at. Interestingly enough, I learned German and I was an okay student, but nothing to shout about. And so when I started Spanish, I think I had that barrier of, well, you'll never really speak Spanish in the same way that you can speak English. So you are opening yourself up to criticism. I don't know what I was thinking. Quite frankly, I didn't know. But for some reasons, I loved learning Spanish. I had coaching sessions with Esther at the Academy. I've absolutely loved it. But it never really made some sort of an impact. And then when I learned about Hypnoledge and we started working together, I tried the platform. And suddenly, my inhibitions started to drop without me really realizing it immediately. But I was saying in the earlier interview that I only had to use it a couple of times. That to me is phenomenal. Suddenly, you know, after the 3 minutes of being relaxed and listening to the voice, I started to do exercises and felt that, not that I was brilliant at Spanish, obviously not, I'm still a beginner, but I didn't hesitate to answer the questions. That to me was already a big step. I went to Spain last month, and even though I was in a, you know, touristy area where I could have used my English or even my French, I never hesitated to say lots of a little courteous thing in Spanish. It doesn't go very far, my Spanish, but still. And that to me was a baby step, but of great significance. And I'm pretty sure that that is because I've been using the platform. So I can, you know, I can only, I'm a big fan of the platform. I also want to, I wanted to ask, so there's a part of obviously self-development, because when you log on the platform, you know, you're there, you choose, you know, your native tongue, then the language that you want to learn. Can you just remind us what language our students can learn on the platform?
So you have 5 languages as we speak, and you have English, Spanish, Italian, German, and French. Okay. For an English speaker, as we speak, they are able to learn Spanish or French. Okay. Italian and German will be plugged for the English community, because the idea here is really bringing that state and using your native language. So the length of the lesson is approximately 25 to 30 minutes with induction message. The message, the audio message, will be bring the learner into that unconscious state. And this message is favorably more in the native language. So we had collaboration with hypnotherapists native English in order to facilitate that state. Right. And then you have the lesson, and at the end you have the 2 to 3 minutes exit message. The total length of the capsule, as we call it, is 25 to 30 minutes. But then, as I mentioned earlier, and back to your question, yes, this is definitely the psycho-emotional part. And there's a gamification within the platform. The more time you spend on the platform, the more you will get some points that we are calling hypno keys. And those keys will be unlocking special sessions that you could find with a psychologist or therapist, but more on your learning skills and self-development, self-confidence, self-esteem, public speaking, boosting my memory, concentration, memorization, all those tools that will be helping you, all those soft skills related to the hard skills of the language itself, but also going beyond, all those things that will be helping you going faster, going beyond, and reveal your potential. So all those things that we call Hypno Boost, they are 25 minutes, 30 minutes, developed by our psychologist, Gershon, the founder we had an interview with in French, developed all those capsules, and will be really helpful in the learning process of the learner. So we call that the Hypno Boost.
So in terms of looking at the platform, so you know, in practical terms, so the students log in and they have, you know, a very short relaxation session. Then they can do some exercises, which obviously can be catered depending on their level. Then there's an entire section on personal development. The Hypno Boost, that's not compulsory, it is. That's just kind of an add-on resource that students can tap in if they feel that they would like it.
Yeah, definitely. This is based on the gamification, so you can use it or not. We feel, and this is exactly the approach and the vision of Hypnoledge. This is really like when you're facing your barriers and you're facing a new identity, when you speak a new language, you will need probably some coaching. And we all know that hypnosis is a fantastic tool for that. And this is why we understand each other in our methodology and pedagogical approach, all about this coaching approach, where you're going to be helping the learner into boosting his confidence, boosting his motivation, and helping him to unlock, as you mentioned earlier, for you, 2 sessions of Spanish with Hypnoledge, maybe unlock something for you to feel more automatism, feel free and speaking freely, exactly as a kid is learning a new language. He has no frame. He's just having identification with images, with sounds. And this is exactly what we're trying to reproduce with Hypnoledge, immersive and sensorial experience, and using the hypnosis to restructure your schemes and your fears and barriers. This is more or less what we have at Hypnoledge.
And so what so for us with our learners, or for learners who use it without our programs, what would you recommend in terms of the frequency of the use of the platform? Should they just have one session at a time? Should they have several? Does it need to be extremely regular in order to work? Are there any rules around how frequent the use of the platform should be?
There's no really rules, but we all know that learning a new language is based also on repetition, so you need to practice. So the length of the session is more or less 25 minutes. So ideally, if you could do 2 to 3 sessions on a weekly basis, that would be fantastic. But the idea here is also to find your own rhythm, right? Your own pace, where you're going to be feeling comfortable, finding the right time, the right atmosphere, the right moment, because you need to find, of course, more quiet place. You just put your helmet and just find 25 minutes of relaxation while you'll be learning at the same time. So probably like 2 to 3 sessions a week will be an ideal frequency. But again, it's just depending on your rhythm, your own diary, and feeling your own emotions. If you feel it's too much, then maybe 2 sessions will be good enough. Just find your own rhythm, but probably like 2 sessions will be my ideal recommendation, because beyond the audio and the hypnosis method, you also have a lot of things on grammar and vocabulary. So you have many more sessions to learn than only the hypnosis.
Okay, so reassure me that this platform, as amazing as it is, will not make us professional language coaches redundant. People will still need us, right?
Definitely. The one of the limit of the platform is the capability of speaking and have a one-to-one session, whether it's going to be on virtual or presential. And this is why we are a fantastic tool as a complementary solution, using the expertise of teachers. But while you're going to be able to address with Hypnoledge, it's going to be all the psycho-emotional side, all those barriers facing self-confidence that will be extremely beneficial with your teachers, Nathalie.
Wonderful. Great. I'm reassured now. Well, I'm just looking at my notes. These are all the questions that were important to me and that I wanted answered. Anything else that you would like to add?
No, once again, we know that hypnosis is bringing a lot of curiosity. So the idea is, for now, it's using it and testing it by yourself. And again, thank you for the occasion and bringing that occasion or inviting me today. I'm very pleased. And we were in CES in Las Vegas. So now we're trying also to develop and expand internationally. I mentioned we had collaboration with hypnotherapists in Spain and in English. And now the idea is to roll out the solution internationally. So again, thank you very much for the invitation.
Brilliant. Well, your details are just there below. So for anyone watching us now, they can contact you directly. They can contact the company. Students of the Academy can come to us as well. Hypnoledge in the last 3 or 4 months is a tool that has been added to quite a few of the blended learning program that we've created for our students. So Pierre-Yves, thanks again so much for your time. It was extremely interesting, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.